Hey everyone, we are back. We didn't make you wait 9 months, so that's good. And I will be honest, I was getting a little bit nervous because my what do you call it? My app, my whatever. That sounds so stupid to say that. It's like as we're speaking, it's awaiting final App Store Google Play approval for its official release. So
I heard that could be a chore, by the way. Those
Oh man, you
storefronts.
have no idea, dude. It's brutal. And the thing is, because they both have a monopoly, they they basically don't play nice with each other. So for
Oh, of
example, like
course.
let's say I wanted to run a promotion, right? Like, like oh, special introductory pricing or whatever. Um Apple will give you, let's say, like three or four like duration, so like 2 days, 14 days, whatever. That Google is like, no, no, screw you. You're gonna get 3 days, 19 days, and something like they purposely
Yeah.
make it so that
It's
it doesn't match.
before we get into our topic, it's kind of like the console side where the console players usually tend to have to wait substantially because Steam just like releases it almost instantly, right? You put it out there, they're easy. But Sony's notoriously slow. So like when you have a game that's cross-platform and a multiplayer, there's a lot of them. So the PC people are up and going on the latest version, but the console people
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
connect
yeah.
to the lobbies because, yeah, it's a chore. I wonder if they'll
Yeah.
ever get it streamlined, but like you said, they got monopolies and they don't care, right?
Well,
They
yeah,
don't care.
and I think that's exactly it, right? Is like they have monopolies. So anyway, whatever. I was a little worried because, like, obviously for customer service, I have to be available, like if there's anything. But yeah, guys. So check out Eva. It should be by the time this airs. It should be out. Go check it out. It's a productivity application to help you manage your home life. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Obviously, V1 is going to be, it's our minimum viable product, so it only gets better from here. So, yeah. So, we got an interesting show for you today. I am really looking forward to hearing Tim's comments on some of these things, and I'd really love to hear your comments on some of these things for everybody who's listening, because the very first thing we're going to talk about is Microsoft's new strategy. So slowly but surely, they've been slowly drip releasing information on some of their big games, right? Like, Call of Duty. I think it just came out, did it not? On Game
Yeah, matter of
Pass.
fact, it's on Game Pass. If you're Game Pass, I think you don't even need to be a Game Pass or any kind of them. The Microsoft, I got the because I'm Ultimate subscriber. Yeah, but it's too. Right now, you could download it, play it. I'm thinking about doing, but it's 208 gigs, man. It's
Oof.
insane.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I have a 2 terabyte SSD, but when I built this computer, I was thinking, should I get the two or should I get the four? I should have got the four because, well, usually when I'm done with the game, I uninstall it, so it's not usually a factor. I'm not even close to 50%, but still, man, these games. Look, that The Witcher 4 is in development. That's going to be
mm,
probably 200 plus gigs. So yeah, it's amazing.
yeah, it's really crazy. So anyway, we've been talking about Microsoft strategy for a while. I've been saying that their management has been like all over the place with the Xbox division, and we got some news, and it was so weird. Like they had a really awesome, like almost like a Nintendo Direct a couple weeks back, and it was really good. Like seriously, guys, so many good games were announced across like the multitude of platforms that they have. I really really enjoyed it. But since that time, we've been getting information about like release dates on different platforms and stuff, and you have to think that, or you have to remember that Microsoft, and it's so weird to say this, man, like Microsoft owns World of Warcraft.
Yes, and it just had a big expansion. It's doing really well. I'm thinking about getting it.
It's just
I don't
it's so weird, like to say something like that, like it's just weird. So the reason I say that is because Microsoft now is a probably the biggest publisher in gaming right now with everything that they've just purchased. So with that expense comes comes some very difficult decisions that they've got to make, right? So you have to think, you got to put yourself in their shoes, and they need as many games to sell as humanly possible in order to ever make the money back that they spent to acquire all of these companies. So I've seen a lot of fanboys across YouTube and stuff like complaining for, complaining against, and stuff like this. And I actually just wanted to have a general purpose conversation, because it seems like their global strategy is a little, how can I say this, confused, shall we say. And I say that being like console agnostic, right? Like I own all the different consoles. I subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate. I have a PC. I was just messing around with GeForce Now. We need to talk about that because that is something else that I think is really gonna change the game, man. But
yeah, a lot of things coming.
So, but first things first, let's talk about like the strategy. So, as you guys know, Starfield is exclusive, right? So it's, what I mean by that, it's console exclusive. So it's available on the Xbox Series, both of them, and it's available on PC. So, okay, cool. So if you are an Xbox only console player, awesome. Good. Like, congratulations. That's awesome, right? But then they just announced Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and that looks really good. Like, to be honest, I'm hyped for that. It comes out, I think, December 9th, day one, Game Pass Ultimate. Guess where I'm playing it right then and there. But then they announced that the PlayStation 5 version will be coming out in spring. And so I'm like, okay, so that one's a timed exclusive. Okay, whatever. And then in the same conference, they announced Doom: The Dark Ages, and that looks awesome too, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for that, man. All this great Game Pass stuff, but continue. Yeah, we're going to talk about this because we know what's happening.
So with this game, it's day one across all platforms and Game Pass. And so I'm just like, when I was sitting here looking at all of this, I was like, good Lord, guys, like, there's no consistency, right? Like, they're selecting which titles to be timed exclusive, which titles to be, like, out there basically, and then which ones, to be exclusives. And I was just thinking, I was like, if I'm just an Xbox, like I said, just an Xbox console gamer, and this is not, I know I'm going to be a fanboy, but like, legitimately, guys, what incentive is there for having an Xbox console? I want to be clear, console, not talking about PC, because if you want my opinion right now, PC is the way to go. It gets everything.
You don't have to worry about anything. Everything's being released on Square. We'll be talking about Square in a minute, but Square's releasing all their titles on PC. So yeah, there's no reason. I understand people are pro console, pro PC. Some, believe it or not, Jared, we've talked about this many times. Desktop PCs are kind of dying, unfortunately, for casuals, because a lot of people don't buy them anymore. It's their tablets or phones, etc. Anyway, besides the point, but exclusives are extremely powerful, though. You have to remember that. How powerful, we'll have to wait and see. A lot of people don't like to wait, especially when it's a big mega hit game, right? So we have to remember that. Because, we've had this throughout console histories for years, right? Sony would get an exclusive on a said title for 6 months to a year over Nintendo, etc. So we do know time consoles are extremely powerful. And the PC side, it's kind of like a great thing and a bad thing. Like, they'll have an exclusive on Epic Game Store for usually 6 months to a year. And Epic usually shells out a good amount of money to the developers, so it's a very attractive, lucrative deal for them, because they usually recover their development costs before even selling a copy. So as a business, why wouldn't you do that, right? The problem with that is, especially if it's a year exclusive. By the time it comes out on Steam or other platforms, the game's hype's gone and they don't sell well. So, it's like pick your poison, right? Do you want to eat now, die later, or die quick, etc. But anyways, so time exclusives are extremely powerful. But like I said, how powerful on the console format, I would love to know the numbers. But on the PC side, it's a pretty interesting tool. But, I don't know. I think we both know the writings on the wall that Microsoft's, again, has had a failure, quote unquote failure for their last console. I think they're leaving consoles, man. You could tell.
Yeah, so this is the thing where it's like, part of me is like, now's the time, man. I've been saying it for a while, but like, now's the time to have an Xbox branded PC or something else. Okay, so the problem, like, okay, there's so many things wrong right now with the Xbox console sort of like management. Like, for example, never should have diversified. That was a huge mistake. I don't care what anyone says. That was a big mistake because developers had no choice but to basically release their games to the lowest common denominator because they had no choice but to make sure that, that it worked. So they basically made like an Xbox Pro right from day one. But the problem with doing that is you diversified your audience right away. Like, that was a big mistake. That really was a big mistake. And now they're paying for it right now. Sales are slow to like a bloody trickle.
Yeah, man.
And sorry, go ahead.
And it's interesting that you're talking about this because now there's even rumors again about the Xbox handheld. So I do think that they're leaving the console market and they're just going to be a publisher developer, which is great for them. They potentially can make a lot of money. But they did say recently that they are going to have a next gen system. They did confirm that.
Yeah.
So we do know that at least they're going to have one more try. I think honestly, Microsoft should save money, just totally abandon Japan. I don't know why they can insistent on selling consoles. They're just like what Sony's done with Japan. They've abandoned that place for the most part and focused on the West. They're basically a Western developer now. People have to realize that Nintendo's grip on Japan's just too strong. Plus the mobile platforms too, right? The phones are so huge.
Yeah, and I would also argue just like the numbers, right? Like when North America and Europe really started to get into gaming, I mean, they're just larger countries, right? So there's just more people. But anyways, like, I don't know, like, I think I'm hoping that with the next Xbox, I'm really hoping they have a dedicated console that's one machine. And yeah, it sucks, man. Like, they're expensive. We know that they're expensive, and it sucks that, some people wouldn't be able to afford it, but you've got to look at the greater good as the company. Like, you saw it didn't work. Diversifying your platform like this, it's ridiculous. Some of the games that are coming out now are utterly ridiculous. They're last gen games, and you're just like, then why? This was the first console generation that kind of felt useless. Like, yes, they've been going, incrementally better and better for a long time now, right? Like, ever since PS3 and Xbox 360, ever since the next gen after that, we really have not, like, it's been incremental improvements at best. And this was the first generation where I really sit here and go, okay, seriously, like, you've got HDR, you've got the I can't think what it's called, ray tracing, and that's it. Like, otherwise these are the exact same games that you've been playing forever, sort of thing. Yeah. So I've been saying for a while now, I really think if Microsoft were to release a Windows version console that didn't allow you to backload apps and all of that, because if you do that, then it's gonna literally become a PC, and then it's gonna have its own problems. I know some of you want a PC straight up, but I think that's more Steam. Like I could see Steam going back and making Steam boxes again, and stuff like that. However, I will add a caveat that occurred this week because of Wukong.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really want to talk about that, but what I wanted to talk about was I got to try it. Okay? So, Wukong, it sold like 10 million units in like half a second. Like, it's been doing absolute gangbusters, but you need a beast of a PC to run this thing at like high settings. Or, and this is where I'm going, you could use GeForce Now with a good internet connection. I know, that's not mainstream because there's all kinds of places in the US and other areas in Canada and the rest of the world that don't have, really good internet. However, I was shocked at just how average your internet needs to be. So I played Wukong on my freaking Mac on ultra settings with no slowdown whatsoever. And that impressed the living bejesus out of me.
How is the game, by the way?
It's good. It's not Dark Souls. So if you're going in expecting Dark Souls, you're not. But the difficulty ramps up crazy quickly.
Well, because I've told you many times, because I know like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all those type of games are extremely popular for good reason. They're very good games. Mm-hmm. They're not my cup of tea because I love challenging games. Don't get me wrong, but I love challenging games that are not. See, the problem with those type of games is, from my perspective, is because I've watched a lot of streams of it. Mm-hmm. I've seen it, feedback, read reviews. It's just a pattern. You learn the encounter, etc., and you eventually it becomes. I wouldn't say trivial, but there's that video of that one streamer. She's on a Dance Revolution. Yeah. Those things, and she's able to do it because she memorized the encounters. So that's my point. It's artificial challenge, and I know fans will rip me apart. But it's true. It's like the old Ninja Gaidens on the NES. Remember that? Mm-hmm. How tough they were? It's because they made everything unfair to the player. But it's really not a quote unquote challenge. My challenge is the dogs are going crazy.
Oh, don't worry, we can't.
My challenge is like chess and strategy and stuff like that requires you to use your mind, not your reflexes. Because the older we get, guys, the reflexes aren't as good. But anyways, that's beside the point. I don't really like those series because there's virtually no story, but you have to go hunt and find little tablets and stuff. That's not my stuff. I like the more cinematic. But anyways, let's get back on topic.
No. So
me.
my point with this was like an iMac is not a gaming
iMac at all things.
It's not a gaming
it's not
machine at all. And to be running, because what if you subscribe to GeForce Now, you basically get their latest graphics cards, okay? The highest, the most ultra omega $20,000 graphic cards that are running, basically they're running like a server farm where they install these games. They have the max settings possible. And yes, there's some input lag, but dude, I didn't notice it at all. And this is an action game, and I didn't notice anything. So
that's something I might give it a try, but like I said, I don't want to where it's frustrating, right? Dragon's Dogma was a good example where it was challenging, but it wasn't frustrating.
Yeah, no, this game is challenging. Well, okay, guys, I tried it. Okay, I don't want to we logged into Steam through one of my friends that came over, and we were just he was showing me because he was like, dude, this is sick. And it really is. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. Like this is like some next level stuff, man. Like it's unbelievable. But the point with this was GeForce Now. That was the thing that got me thinking big time. Because my internet here is not amazing, man. Like, it's really not amazing. And the fact that I was able to play this at max settings with no 4K resolution, the whole thing, and no lag, no nothing, it really got me thinking that the next time Apple releases an Apple TV, if they put an M processor, because that's a requirement for GeForce Now, it just requires an M processor, basically, that could be the most powerful PC ever made. Do you know what I mean? Because with GeForce, because you can even use browsers for Pete's sake. So it's compatible with anything with a browser, or, like your PC, your Mac, your Chromebooks, and all that sort of stuff, because you don't need any power. You don't need any power whatsoever. It's basically just the screen with the input, and you're going.
Thinking of which, I bought this bad boy. I've been getting good use out of it, right? The little Xbox controller, wireless. I had a wire one before. I got tired of wire. FYI, anyone I see, the NHL series, the hockey series is exclusive to consoles. It's one of my favorite console games, right? I don't buy consoles. For some reason, they don't make these games on Switch. Well, Electronic Arts doesn't really give love to Nintendo. Anyways, so I missed out on the series forever, but I found out Xbox Ultimate, Game Pass Ultimate on PC, you get access to all these Xbox exclusive console games. You just go through the thing. You go through, I don't want to show it or get details, but just look it up if you have it. You go in there. It's via cloud, of course.
Yeah.
But man, it plays perfect.
Well, dude, this is what I'm saying.
It's amazing. I was so impressed.
So this is the whole point of what I'm trying to say. You imagine releasing a console that has the ability to do that in reverse, right?
Yep.
So imagine Xbox's next console it's powerful in its own right, but it allows you to do that where you can stream. And it's funny, like, streaming got such a bad rap, like, during last gen, like the last 10 years or so. But I gotta tell you guys, I'm floored.
And I mean, we always have this debate about physical versus digital, etc. We have our purists who want digital only. I can understand that. But realistically, I would love to. I know there's physical sales still happen, but I guarantee you that the physical sales don't even come remotely close to digital. Am I right? At least on the PC side, no one buys.
No.
PC can't buy anything on physical anymore.
Yeah, no. On PC, I think on console, I think it has surpassed. I know before it wasn't, but I think now it has. I think it's surpassed physical. And the reason why I say that is because finding physical games in your everyday store is
more
becoming
challenging.
Yeah, it's becoming less and less and less, and that tells you something. So just to wrap up, okay, because I don't want you to I think Xbox right now, they're just confused on what strategy to follow, right? However, if they were to do something like a GeForce Now, or just, just team up with NVIDIA and release GeForce Now. GeForce Now gives you access to your Steam library, your Ubisoft library, and two other ones, which Epic Game Store, and I don't remember what the other one is.
GOG?
No, it wasn't GOG.
Humble?
Shoot.
It might be Humble. That's another Steam front.
Yeah, but I don't. Anyway,
but they're kind of a reseller.
Yeah, no, I can't think. Anyway, sorry guys, I can't think of.
Anyways,
whatever. But
you guys get the gist.
Yeah, exactly. You get the idea that you can easily just log in. Oh, wait, no, I said Steam, Game Pass, Epic. Yeah, and then we can't remember who the third one is, right? Oh no, Ubisoft. Ubisoft. Those are the four.
Ubisoft.
So those are the
man,
four.
I tell you, Matt, I hate how these individual platforms have their own storefronts. But it made me think of Monster Hunter Wilds. By the way, it's confirmed it's open world. Finally, we'll have to discuss that in another podcast, but I'm very excited about that.
So anyway, I'm just gonna wrap up by just saying, like, I'm super curious to see what Microsoft does here. I don't think we're gonna get a more powerful Xbox Series, blah blah, because they already diversified. It would make no sense for them to do that now. Heavy rumors saying Sony is about to release the PS5 Pro and it'll be marginally better than the existing PS5. The difference there is you're not diversifying anymore because, like, we're already, like, what, 5 years, 6 years into the or whatever it is, into the lifespan. But it really got me thinking, man. I'm telling you, it really got me thinking of, like, something like a device like Apple TV. Could you imagine having access to your entire Steam library, max, ultra, omega settings from your sofa, where it's as easy as just taking a controller? You don't need to do anything else. And then that got me thinking about Switch 2. That got me start thinking about the next Xbox. Like, there's a lot of potential in this tech now than there wasn't, a number of years ago. So that's all I want to say about that. All right. Okay, so really quickly, I wanted to hear your opinion on this because you love talking, like, smack. So I can't wait to hear this. So, guys, I always find it sad when, like, studios close down and stuff, and it sucks because people are losing their jobs and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
So about 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that, after Visions of Mana was released, it was announced that Ouka Studios was shut down by NetEase. And the Chinese powerhouse developer specifically is sourced as saying that Japanese developers don't make hit games. Ouch, man.
Well, that's funny because I want to give a shout out to one of our community members, Nick, because I did ping him because he's a fan of the series and he's going to buy the game. And he did say it best, and I'm pretty sure you're going to agree, except for, I guess, that he forgets about Nintendo. But besides the point, Japan doesn't make hit games. They make consistent earnings. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, they do. They make exactly, unless you're like Square Enix right now, which is not doing good at all.
They're not doing good at all.
But I think that's a bit of a racist statement to say that, like, they don't make hit games. Yeah. Like, come on, guys. Like, are you kidding? Bad, Street Fighter, all those, they're still huge series.
It's interesting you bring up Street Fighters. Capcom, you remember Capcom was kind of hurting for a while.
Yeah, during the 360. They were hurting in that era, but man, have they come back.
Oh, they really turned it around. It's kind of interesting because a lot of the Japanese powerhouses of the past are struggling right now. Konami virtually said, I'm out of... Now they're starting to kind of come back, but not really. They've just focused on casino games for, gambling casino games. So it's interesting to see these old powerhouses. Square is just... It's like Konami. It's like they have these amazing... huge list of IPs, and it's just, well, Square's still making a bunch of games, but it's amazing to hear that they're just hurting. And yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, but the thing with Square, man, that's bothered me for quite a number of years, ever since they acquired, like, Tomb Raider there and stuff like that. They've annoyed me because their expectations are just completely stupid. I don't even want to say unrealistic. Yeah. It's just stupid. It's like, oh, this game only sold 8 million units. I'm sorry, but, it didn't meet sales expectations. It's like, guys, what the hell is wrong with you? Like,
you remember back in the day, if you hit 1 million, that was considered the golden mecca. It's like, oh, wow, we did it. Now, like you said, 1 million's like, eh.
But the thing is, that makes no sense.
No, it doesn't, because you make your money back. Think about it, right? Do the math. You make your money. The problem is there's a lot of interesting podcasts, and we should discuss this because I know we kind of cover a broad spectrum, don't really focus on per se anything specific because we cover everything. No, that's not bad.
It's just the way that
I would love to do when we could do our homework though, so we well informed on it. They're saying that live service games are destroying gaming and the expectations, and Do you think that's kind of the fault? Maybe NetEase is kind of thinking, or they didn't expect Visions of Mana to be a live service game, but that expectation of
Well,
that
dude,
huge money.
personally, I don't even think this has anything to do with Visions of Mana because the studio was closed before the game was released.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
So
I think they maybe I understand that they did that, but it sounds like that was already chosen before. I mean, what if Visions of Mana did a huge amount of numbers?
No, don't say past tense. What if it does?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It just came out.
Give the thing a chance to. What sucks is that means any bugs and stuff won't be fixed, right? If they shut down the studio.
Well, it depends, right? It depends on the publisher. So it depends on Square Enix. Like, if the game does really, really well, then they probably pull the source code in-house and start to. But it's not the same. I was thinking of that today, where I was like, you know what? What if the game sold like 3 million copies, and they're like, oh crap, we need a sequel? You're never going to recapture that magic without the original team. It's so hard to do that. Like, it can be done, but it's hard.
It can be done, but yeah, it's kind of sad because Visions of Mana is something I think a lot of people have really been looking for. Matter of fact, let's check a look. Last time I checked, Steam reviews were very, very good. Let's see if they're.
Well, I played through the prologue and I was like, yeah, it's fun. I'm finishing Final Fantasy XVI and then I'm gonna jump into Visions of Mana.
How do you like it so far? I want to buy it, but I'm waiting for a sale. $60 because I have too many other games coming up, man. And I told you guys I never buy unless it's a multiplayer type game. I'll play full price, but for single player games, I always wait for a sale. I never pay full price unless it's a must-have title. But even then, even Witcher 3, I waited. Stuff like that. Redemption 2, all that stuff I wait.
Yeah, well, especially like you're a PC gamer. I mean, on PC, like that's just the way it is. But I mean, that's part of the problem, right? If Steven was here, he would be saying that's the problem, right? Is that people wait for all these sales and then like the developers lose tons and tons of cash.
True. So, now, I do understand what Steven's saying, and that's why Nintendo's notorious for it, because they believe their product. I think Steven says they should have more confidence. But he has to also remember, too, is people right now getting money. I mean, I'm financially very nice. I'm not. It's not a money issue for me, but there's a lot of people that don't have that disposable income.
Yeah.
And he has to realize that.
Yeah. So, no. I mean, and yeah, I mean, we're speaking for Steven. But and he's going to be yelling and screaming into his headset or whatever.
Well, not everyone's a rich cat like Steven.
There you go.
We got those deep pockets.
But I think it actually goes back to your live services comment, where the thing is you incentivize the behavior you're looking for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so because Steam and all these companies started this ages ago of like hyper discounts on sales, in essence, they have made the value of software lower and lower and lower and lower. And today it's like music. No one's going to pay for music today because streaming services have made it that only the Omega hardcore are going to actually buy albums and stuff. And the thing is, same with gaming. So now there's this perception that games aren't worth X, Y, or Z.
That's so amazing because I always have that argument about, because I hate free to play. I want to just get a price point, and that's it. And people always and I never understood this logic. You'll have a person who plays said free-to-play game for thousands of hours, and then they have the audacity to say, well, I'm never going to pay for anything. It's not worth it. Well, how much money did you put in it? Yet you'll go into no money, hours you put into it. Yet you'll go buy Resident Evil 11 or 12 or whatever it's on now, pay $70, get 10 hours to 15 hours if you're lucky out of the campaign, and you're done. Unless you're a purist that go in and do all the achievements, but most people don't. Let's come to reality, right? So you'll pay $70 for 10 hours of gameplay, but you'll pay absolutely nothing for thousands of hours of gameplay. The value for investment in time.
But that's it.
I don't understand that. It's weird how people think that, it's not worth money. They don't understand. Or they feel they're entitled to get everything for free, which is another topic.
But this that's the problem right there. What you just said, that is the problem on both ways, right? Like, and so it's, and I'm living it, right? Like I've released a productivity application to help families like with their manage their home and their home life. So like the kids' activities, all that kind of stuff. If I were to release this thing back in like, I don't know, like the 80s or something like that, I could have probably have sold this at like $50-$60 a pop, and no one would have like blinked an eye at it. They would have been like, oh, there's this really cool tool that really helps you and whatever. But when the App Store, Google Play, when these things were introduced, they introduced the race to the bottom in terms of pricing, where today, if you want to release a mobile application or even a piece of software, it's like it has to be almost free in order for people not to immediately go, oh, whoa, that's a lot of money. And it's incredible because we've all been brainwashed into thinking the value of these things. So that's where I give Nintendo major kudos. I give them kudos for that, where they're like, screw everyone else. We're going to do what we want to do, and for better or worse. And, like, that's it.
I'm still waiting for that Mario Party. Mario Party's actually coming out. I might get that. I really enjoyed the series. I got the other one. I am still waiting for a major sale for Mario Kart 8, and it still eludes me, man.
And it's a launch title. It's like 7 years old now.
Shit doesn't change, dude. Actually, if you want to save stuff for Nintendo, take total advantage of their eShop vouchers. For $100, you get two of their games, so that's a pretty decent. Other first line titles and second line titles you get a decent savings there. But yeah, Nintendo sticks to their guns and it's successful.
Yeah, well, that's it. Right? Exactly. So, I was saying that I'm going to be jumping into Visions of Mana, but right now I'm just finishing off Final Fantasy XVI, and that is quite literally the next topic, which is just to say that Final Fantasy XVI, it should have been here day one, but whatever. I don't understand why they signed a deal with Sony. Those days were already over when the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S launched. It was stupid, and now they are paying for it. Not only did Final Fantasy VII Rebirth fail to perform well, but Final Fantasy XVI pretty much all but bombed. And we don't have like official numbers, so we don't know exactly how bad it performed. They announced like early on that, like in the first 3 days it sold whatever. But it, like you've been saying for ages, console exclusive, just exclusives, it doesn't have to be console. Exclusives are a thing of the past. So I'm happy to say that Final Fantasy XVI is coming to PC in like a couple of weeks on September 17th, and you can go ahead and try the demo, and I would recommend you do. Give it a go.
I'll try it.
Yeah, it's
perfect. Let me tag it right now.
Yeah, it's. I'd love to hear what you think. Remember what I've been saying. It's an action game, so it's like Devil May Cry. It's not a Final Fantasy game in the traditional sense. So I would love if you give that a go. I'd love to hear what you think. And the demo's only like an hour or something. It's not long. Okay. And on my side, I'm actually about to platinum it because I really enjoyed the combat system and stuff. Like not combat system, but the combat. Like it's a fun action game. It's just not a Final Fantasy game. But
I will download it. You're right. September 17th, 2024 is when it comes out. And there's the demo. I love this, dude. Demos, man. That's one thing. I think consoles have those now for a while. But remember back in the day, you used to always get the demos on the PC and try it out. But now consoles get to take a part of that as well. But I'll let you know what I think. I have to play it with my controller because I'm assuming it's designed for controller.
Oh yeah. Hell yes. I think Devil May Cry, man. Like it's a third-person action game combos, but it's simplistic. You don't have to go like bonkers here with it or or anything. And anyway, and
you know what I'll do? Thinking of which, I'll probably record the gameplay and we could upload it on our main channel. That'd be kind of cool. Say, hey, listen, my impressions. That
yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll do that for us. So.
Yeah, why not? There you go. That's cool. Okay, so like the last thing, I don't want to go through all the games because there's like freaking dozens of games. I don't know if you looked at the link I sent you.
Yes.
But there's like tons, man. So I don't know how do you want to do this?
Well, let's talk about them, but it's interesting. One of the games, the very first ones on that list is, you see, this game I want to get because it's such a huge hit and gets so much high praise and tons of people love it. I love card games, so I don't know but this is like basically a poker game, but it's supposed to be I don't know how to play poker, but you don't need to know poker, but I want to know what you think of it. Now it's having a crossover with The Witcher, Among Us, Vampire Survivors, which is a huge success indie game, and Dave the Diver, which has been a huge thing. So it's interesting to get this collaboration. But these friends of Jimbo, this little game here, what do you think about it? You see on the link, right? It's coming on the Switch.
Yeah, yeah, dude. But there's no way they announced like 56 games. The podcast will be 3 hours, so like
what?
I'm not sure, guys, how you want us to do it. What I was going to do is I was going to go through and, like, I know some of the announcements, like, some of them I'm like, okay, are pretty cool. Like, I was just going to go down quick on my side to see.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm talking about an indie direct that came out that, Nintendo does this every once in a while. I think it's the last... I'm going to go on a whim and say this is the last direct before the Switch 2 is announced. Like, I'm pretty sure. So, from the guys, there were so many games announced, but some of the highlights for me, Legend of Heroes is coming. There's like, it's going to be a remake, but there's no more. I think it's a remake anyways, because Trials in the Sky, which was released like way back. I think it was on the PSP. So that's pretty sick. I was really happy to see that, although it's got real-time combat now, which, again, it's not the end of the world, but it's just, I was like, oh, well, all right. There were 2 Capcom fighters, too, that I'm also interested in, just because, like, I love these, right? Like, there's Marvel vs. Capcom, the Fighting Collection, Arcade Classics, which basically it has, like, all of them all the way up into Marvel vs. Capcom. Doesn't include Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but it's like all the ones up to that point, which I'm shocked because I did not expect us to get that anytime soon. And then the other one is the one for this guy being Tim. So Capcom Fighting Collection 2 includes Capcom versus SNK 2. It's supposed to be Match of the Millennium. What is this Mark of the Millennium garbage? Power Stone.
Oh man,
Power Stone 2.
The Dreamcast. Right?
Exactly.
What a great game.
Anyways, and it's got a bunch of other ones as well, but I just wanted to single out Power Stone for this guy. So these games, I mean, I can't imagine them being Switch exclusives. I'll be shocked if they're Switch exclusives. So I'm sure all of this is going to come to everything else, which is pretty...
Except for Xbox for some reason. Xbox fans
are you serious?
Yeah, it's weird.
What is going on, man? Anyway, I don't know. I want to check out more of Lego Horizon. I really enjoyed Horizon, that series. Like, just really enjoyed it. So I want to check this out. And it's just weird to me because it's like it's a Sony series that's on like everything. Like literally, it's gonna be on Switch. It's gonna be, unless you tell me it's not on Xbox, it's gonna be on PC.
But we have to give a shout out for a very interesting indie game that we saw at the thing, and it looks amazing. Morsels. It's pixel graphics, but the way they do the visuals in that game looks very, very interesting. As a master trying to survive a world of hungry cats, and it's an top-down action roguelike, which is hugely popular right now. But yeah, it looks actually really, really good. So I wanted to give a shout out to that.
Yeah, sure.
And don't forget, Metal Slug Tactics is coming out.
Yeah, that was on my list.
Oh, good. I was hoping you wouldn't forget that.
Yeah, no, and like, do that. Interrupt me, okay? Like, So Civ 7 coming out, that's another
Oh,
one.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's coming on Switch, dude. That's one of my most anticipated games. I love strategy games. I'm playing Northgard right now. Excellent strategy game you can get on Switch too, by the way. All console. I don't know about all consoles, but PC, Switch, etc. So even on mobile phone, I hear that it's not being really supported on mobile anymore. But yeah, I love that. I hope you get Civ 7 so we can play.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you right now, man. Like, GeForce Now. It's where it's at, because like for me, if I can do this by sitting on my sofa having 4K HDR, all the bells and whistles and everything, like damn son, like
yeah, I know it's amazing. You get to sit your thing. We could play some Civ 7 or even 6. But
do you know you can even play 7. WoW?
Oh, you can. Wow, that's amazing.
It's amazing with no lag,
especially with that, which kind of usually kind of need a good connect. Yeah, cloud's getting huge, man. Cloud's next crazy. 10, 20 years will be prime.
Oh, that's what I think. Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think like in terms of like hardcore PC there, you may not need
it anymore. And that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, well, save a fortune. Dragon Quest, it goes without saying, right? Like that for me, just looks beautiful, man. Like absolutely beautiful. I can't wait for that. Castlevania, I just don't have the I don't have the time right now. So there's Castlevania Dominus collection, which includes basically all the DS like games, but it's just I don't know, like they have it like smooshed, so like it's on like the left hand side, and then you've got like the bottom screen is like on the right hand side type thing. I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, but I like the games though. The games are kick ass.
Yeah. I was gonna say if you want to play for that, but you're right. I don't agree. I don't like the map, but anyway, they have to kind of put the 3DS's content in one screen now. Luckily, it's wider than. Thinking of Castlevania chapter came out for Dead by Daylight. Excellent. I love playing Dracula. Then Simon Belmont's
God, you and the
Belmont is a skin, which I was so happy to hear. So is Alucard, by the way. So we see a lot of Alucards and Trevor's going around the game, but unfortunately, Alucard's kind of more popular skin. So Simon, you only see him once in a great while. But
that's your job. You're supposed to be Simon and Trevor.
Yeah, Simon's awesome. And he looks like this Conan guy, this big buff guy, and freaking shorts and stuff like that. That's awesome. But anyways, but thinking of which, it's kind of interesting that they included these games that they're indie when Konami and Capcom are not indie, right? Or Square. So
yeah, I think it was, truly, I think it's 2D type thing, or like, but not exactly, because like Tales of Grace's F is also coming. They're doing a remaster of that from Namco, and the other one was Suikoden. That is going to be really interesting. A remaster of those two. Those are legendary games. I got them like right over there. So there you go. That was for me. There you go.
And the Tales of Grace's F remake is going to be interesting, because the Tales series have always been pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, man, is these directors show so many amazing games, but when I look at the eShop, I see so much garbage being released. It's like it's hard to find good games, but it's good to see a good list of stuff coming out. And thinking of like Morsels, I'm probably going to get on the Switch. I don't know, maybe the PC. I think it's only Switch if I remember right. But thinking of which, before we Dragon Quest 3, the remake, do you think it's going to sell well?
I hope so. I really do.
I hope so too.
Because if it could outsell Final Fantasy 16, I would freaking love that, because and like I say, I mean, I'm doing literally everything you can do in the game. So obviously I like it, right? But it's just, the more I play, like, I love the world, love the story, love the characters. Way too many cinematics, I'll say that. Like, Square, like, seriously, guys, like, you got to lay off. It's like I did a Dragon Quest X video this morning with Cran, and we always do the same thing. We record for 2 hours straight every week, and that's it. Okay. I played for 17 minutes.
Oh wow, it's a bit tough, right?
I mean, come on. Like, so Cran and I are basically just talking the whole time. We're chatting with each other, and that's the video. And I was like, if I were watching this, like if I was someone from the channel watching this, I wouldn't even watch this, because it's like, this is like, what the hell, man? And it's disappointing. Like, I find that really, really disappointing. And I mean, I made it about 3/4 of the way or something like that, and then even me, like all the side quests, I started to skip the cinematics and stuff. I was like, okay, I can't. Like, this is getting ridiculous. And I saw a meme. One of my friends sent me that I died of laughter when I saw it. And it was like a picture of like this big baddie in a video game thing. And it's like, I will never forgive you for what you've done. I will make you pay. And then it's the game character with like a little caption. It's like, yo, dude, I've been skipping the cinematics since the beginning. I don't even know who you are.
That's funny, dude.
And I was dying.
Yeah, that is true, because I think like people don't have the patience for it, but it's kind of sad because these companies do put a lot of effort into their stories. I'm not sure so much the MMO, but the full single player games, they do put a lot of effort into it. It's kind of sad that people don't, but people don't care. They just go through it.
Yeah, but there's also
that meme's so true. Though.
But yeah, but dude, there's limits. Like my PlayStation, actually, the controller shut off because it was me not touching it for that long.
Wow.
Like, that's excessive, man. So, like, in Final Fantasy 16, I think, I might be mistaken, but I think it's 11 or 13 hours of cinematics. That's insane. The game's like 20 hours or 25 hours. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
But yeah. I do hope you at least give it a go.
Oh, I will. I'll definitely download it and check it out. But I'm also threw a shout out for Sea of Stars, which is an indie games. They're a passion. I love seeing these indie games that love the big series and they make their own take on it. Like right now, there's several indie companies making their own take on the Paper Mario type games, and they look up really good. So yeah, I love seeing that, these passion projects and stuff like that. And some of them will do good, some of them don't. But yeah, the Castlevania remakes, I'm kind of interested because I would love to be able to play those. But you're right, the screen kind of looks kind of. But what can you do? You have to fit 2 screens in one, so.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Whatever. And it's just like, those were really good games. Those were really, really good games. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything that's been going on. I don't know, anything we can end off with you. What have you been playing recently?
Well, Game Pass is having, this week, we have Warhammer, well, it's not Game Pass, it's still on Microsoft's side. Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2, huge anticipated game. It looks amazing. We'll definitely talk about that. Also, coming up is, what's it called? It's out now. Age of Mythology Retold. I'm gonna be playing a shit ton of that. Some people are kind of one of my colleagues here or community members. One of our community members is kind of upset. There's no progression, meaning like no level ups, no unlocking. You know how games nowadays have a progression where you unlock stuff. It's a remake, so it's an older game, just better, but it's such a great series. So there's a bunch of stuff coming out, man. So I'm gonna be playing getting a lot of value on Xbox. Space Marines 2 is gonna be something I'm gonna be playing a lot of. I don't know if you're a Warhammer fan. Are you?
Used to play it, but dude, right now, like, what do you do? Do you play for like just a few hours and then you move on to another game?
Well, I play we have, I'm thinking of community. We have a community night on Discord. We should put the link in the video for golf with your friends. We haven't done a community night for a long time. We do have D&D ongoing, guys. We do have a D&D that's a weekly thing, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, we have that. But usually we'll play a couple hours with some community members and then that's it. I'll probably play myself as well because there's a story campaign. I like playing story by myself because I don't like people interrupting because I like watching cinema. cinematics, and stuff like that. So I don't like people talking over it or, hey, let's skip it, let's go. So I do that.
Yeah, that's cool, like dude. That. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not the type of guy that I'm like skip everything. It's just that
he does.
You'll
he does,
see,
guys. He's
you'll
impatient.
See. You'll see.
Thinking of we were talking about WoW, and are you going to get the new expansion?
Dude, it's time, man. It's all time. It's all about. Yeah. That's why I was asking, like, what are you actually doing? Like, are you playing for just like an hour or 2 hours?
Yeah.
Because how do you have time, man?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a company to run like you do, so.
No, but still, like,
a little bit easier. But yeah, during the week it's kind of tough, man, because you're tired from work, mostly on the weekends. But yeah, you can try to get in there. That's why I do play like what's it called? Snap to do like the dailies and stuff like that. But yeah, I just minimum. I don't sit there for hours and hours like he used to back in the good old days.
The good old days.
But yeah, it's fun when you get some buddies to play some certain. Like I have a little like a group for Dead by Daylight when we play Survivors. Of course, they're obsessed with Baldur's Gate 3 right now, so they're not playing much. But when they get over that, they'll come back. But yeah, so stuff like that. But yeah, so if you guys have golf with your friends, you want to join us Tuesday night. Discord, I think it's 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, so I'm not sure what that is for the rest of the world, but
Eastern, that's 9:30. So
hey, Jared, you can join us. Don't worry.
Yeah,
he's gonna be sleeping.
No, not sleeping, but
it's
that's definitely late. Well, listen, guys, this was fantastic. We will be back next week, and we got to hold Tim accountable here, okay? So if there's no podcast next week, it's because he didn't play the Final Fantasy.
Oh no, I'll play it. I'm gonna play it probably today or tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll see.
I will record gameplay, or do you think it's not worth it?
No, for sure it's worth it. It's always cool to see like what your impressions are.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. And then it'll be probably an hour long.
It's not long. The demo, I already did the demo like on PS5 there, and it's not long.
Okay, good. Because you know how YouTube moves. Anything over 15 minutes, you lose their attention.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Our channel's a little bit different. They're a little bit more retro. So they might kind of like it. Yeah, I'll record the videos, and then we'll upload it and get it going.
All right. Well, we'll catch you later, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Later.